What do you do when there's no inventory in the real estate market? Well, I'm going to talk to you as a buyer of real estate right now. And this is going to be a hard truth that maybe nobody's told you yet. And that's the reality that you're not going to find exactly what you want. And that's actually a universal truth in real estate. You could have a budget of $1 bazillion million and you'd move into that house, still look around and say, man, I wish it had this. Because houses are really interesting in that you don't necessarily know exactly what you actually needed until you move in. But here's the upside. You can make adjustments. You can pick any house and change the color of the walls. You could change the flooring. You could paint the kitchen cupboards. You could add an appliance that you want. And if you want a gas stove, you should probably add that in now. And we start to realize that we can actually make any house our own. It's one of the reasons people own real estate, because it is theirs and they can then personalize it. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up is that because right now there is very little inventory, we have a lot of buyers that look around and say, it doesn't feel good. I get it. Not everything looks perfect at first glance. And in fact, most of the public can't visualize. Let me give you an oddball stat. It's estimated that 15% of adults can visualize it all. And when you start to realize that number, that's why when new home communities are being started, model homes are the easiest one to buy. We see buyers go in, the builder may have a whole book of floor plans, but our buyers say, you know what, model works for me. They build the most popular floor plan as a model. And because people have an inability to visualize from floor plan to finished product, they just go ahead with the model. And that's really great and it's pleasing. But one of my jobs as a real estate pro is to help you visualize, to say, well, it could have this kind of flooring. We could change this color. We could even knock down a wall. In fact, I saw a house last night that is an old tri-level floor plan. They don't even build those anymore. And in the old floor plan built in the early 70s, there's a front living room, big wall, and then behind that is the kitchen and the breakfast area. What these folks had done was knock out that wall and made one giant open space. Now, the caveat here is you need a general contractor to make sure you're not messing up a load-bearing wall. But once these people took that wall down, everything felt and looked different. Now, when you consider how things can be changed, I want you to go back to what your expectations are, because one of the most successful things we can do in life is adapt our own expectations. I do worry right now because our first-time buyer population, which tends to be younger than I am, yes, I'll say the young people, you've been living in apartments a heck of a lot nicer than the ones my friends and I lived in once upon a time. And when you live in an apartment that has hardwood floors and granite countertops and floor-to-ceiling glass and a rooftop pool, it's going to be hard for you to go out and look at something in your price range and realize that it's got popcorn ceilings and laminate counters and some tired but serviceable carpet. Once you adjust to the fact that it didn't ever have to be perfect, but that you can personalize it, everything changes for you. So what I want you to think about is this. Is it better in the grand scheme of things to rent or to buy? Well, I'll just tell you, and yes, I'm biased as a real estate pro, it's better to buy because it is a long-term financial stability play. Once you decide you want to buy, find something within your budget. Go ahead and suck it up because it doesn't have to be forever. Make sure you budget for at least 5 years. It's not a short-term play. But when you realize that you can make something better, go ahead and do it. Get used to something that's different than you expected, because it might wind up even better than it started.